Well, hi again, folks. I'm Greg Flynn, the Public Information Director here for the City of Pearl, and welcome into This Week in Pearl. We have got a treat for you today. We are going to have the Speaker of the House, Representative Philip Gunn, here with us as he and Representative Gene Newman will take us under the dome over at the state capitol and really take a deep dive into the biggest issue facing legislators right now, and that is the state income tax. There's talk of completely eliminating it for residents or perhaps reducing it. The Speaker will be here to tell you the House's plan, which is pretty detailed, and we'll let you hear it straight for yourselves. Then we're going to talk about some great fundraiser events that are going on here in the city and a chance for you to help those less fortunate and the patients over at the Mississippi Children's Hospital. And we'll of course tell you how you can stay connected here with news from the City of Pearl 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Stay tuned. This Week in Pearl continues right after this.
Hello, I'm Mayor Wyndham, and I'm thrilled to show you the city creating its own future. Pearl is located in Rankin County, the fastest growing county in Mississippi, and there's no question why. Access to great schools, even better shopping, and unbridled beauty make Pearl a town that truly embodies its name. And with a truly exceptional team of first responders, public safety is another key component of our success. With fantastic housing opportunities from quaint suburban neighborhoods to gorgeous lakefront properties, there's a place for you here in Pearl. You can't beat the location. Right outside of Pearl is the crossroads of the South, where Interstate 20 meets Interstate 55. From here you can travel anywhere within the state or the country. Or you can choose to stay right here in Pearl to enjoy a Mississippi Braves baseball game or experience the small town atmosphere, community pride, and heart of the local residents.
Welcome back into This Week in Pearl. It is now time for us to go under the dome over at the state capitol, and boy, do we have a treat for you this week as we are joined by the Speaker of the House. He's Representative Philip Gunn from over in Hinds County. As we like to joke around, it's his eye candy with us this week, Representative Gene Newman, who we all know and love so well. Mr. Speaker, welcome in.
Thank you, Greg. Glad to be here. I asked Gene what we were going to do, and he said he was just here for decoration. So that, I think, gives me credibility. To be seen with Gene Newman gives me credibility in the city of Pearl.
Well,
so it's a pleasure to have him on the show today.
We won't let him escape. We're going to ask him a little bit about his bills a little bit later on that he has still floating through
Very good.
the halls over there. But man, it is you guys have accomplished so much already. It started with the teacher pay raises. Then we moved on to medical marijuana. You got that knocked out. Congressional redistricting. You've hit halftime, but it was a very productive first half.
I agree with that. We worked very hard. Hit the ground running, really, on the House side when the session started. We knew coming into this session it was going to be a very busy session. I'd like to think it's not going to be difficult, but it is weighty. We had a lot of issues, as you mentioned, that we tackled right out of the gate. We did congressional redistricting the first week. Came back the next week with the income tax elimination and the teacher pay raise. Came back the next week with the medical marijuana bill, got that knocked out. We've done the initiative bill. We have tackled quite a few heavy issues in the first half of the session, and we're now in the home stretch trying to get it tied up before the end of March.
Well, the big one, you mentioned it just a little bit. You did tackle and you got income tax going through the process. Right now, it's just kind of sitting there. As the Senate has their version, you have your version, and somehow, in what, a month, y'all are going to hopefully come to an agreement within that, right?
Well, within hopefully 2 weeks. You know, we operate on deadlines in the legislature, and so we have about 2 weeks to get that resolved. Now, our position has been very clear from the get-go. We believe we should have full income tax elimination without further legislative action. Now, that means a lot. I want to pass a bill that somehow gets us to a point where nobody in the state pays income tax anymore. We believe there's nothing more we could do that will transform the lives of Mississippians and Rankin Countyans and Pearl citizens than putting more money back into their pockets, letting them keep more of their hard-earned dollars. There's no disputing the fact that when you give people more money in their pockets, they can improve their quality of life. They can provide for their children better. They can give more to their community. They can give more to their church. We've all seen how the stimulus checks that were given resulted in an increase in spending. People are going to spend money if you give it to them. And even if they save it, they're going to save it for a day when they're going to spend it. So the plan that we passed was analyzed by a couple of economists at one of our universities here in the state. And their conclusion was that if we eliminate the income tax, it will result in a $371 million increase annually in our gross domestic product. People hear that term all the time, gross domestic product, GDP. What is that? That's the sale of goods and services. That is how it's defined. And what they're telling us is that if we get rid of the income tax, we will sell more, $371 million more goods and services. Now, everybody in Pearl who has a job either sells a good or a service. So they're going to sell statewide $371 million more dollars of that. That results in economic prosperity. And again, our citizens can improve their quality of lives, provide for their children better, give more to their communities. There's no downside to getting rid of the income tax. So the plan that we've got is one that we think is responsible, it's good, and it does get us to that point of full elimination. Now, the Senate plan doesn't do that. The Senate plan is a partial tax refund. It does not go nearly as far, and I'll just use numbers. Under our plan, we cut your car tag in half. If you got a $500 car tag, we cut it in half. So you save $250. Under their plan, they use this phrase called eliminating the state portion of the car tag. I think that's misleading because people think in some way their car tag is about to go away. Do you know what the state portion of your car tag is?
Very little.
When you buy the metal plate, when you go get your car, get your new tag, it's $5. When you get the little sticker when you renew, it's $3.75. So which would you rather have? You know, $250 back on your car tag or $5? Under our plan, we propose to eliminate your income tax. There's a day under the details of our plan between growth and combination of growth and increase in sales tax, you get to a day when nobody is paying an income tax. Under their plan, they're telling you they eliminate the 4% bracket. That's $200 a year. And in the first year of their plan, they only propose to give you $50. Under our plan, you get $1,300 back a year. Under our plan, you're getting over $100 a month back per taxpayer, $200 a month per married couple, making $40,000 a year or better. That's another tank or two of gasoline. That's another bag of groceries. That's another utility bill that someone can pay. Under their plan, you get $4 a month. So when you start going down the numbers, you can see there's no comparison between the two plans. It is our belief and our desire that we ought to get rid of the income tax completely, wholly. There's no downside to doing that. We believe that, here's another thing. Our chairman of appropriations and Ways and Means, they are constantly being approached by lobbyists and special interest groups and people who have paid somebody to come down and speak on their behalf. They pass out billions of dollars every year based upon state agencies who come and advocate for their money, lobbyists who advocate for the money, special interests. The taxpayers don't have a lobbyist. There's nobody down there speaking for them. They have one voice, and that is the person that they elect, Gene and me. We are the voice of the taxpayers. We go down to the Capitol, and Gene and I are working hard to be a voice for the taxpayer and give them some of their hard-earned money back. We have funded every function of government right now. We have level-funded government. We have filled the rainy day fund. We have fixed the retirement system. And we still have over $1 billion left over. It's time, in my opinion, to give that money back to the taxpayers. It is time for the taxpayers to reap and receive back some of their hard-earned money. That's what Gene and I are trying to do. We're trying to be that voice of the taxpayer. And I would say it's time for the senators to do the same thing. They are the elected voice of their constituents. It's time for them to step up and help us in this fight to give some of that money back.
Well, Gene, you've talked about that many times, that you believe that the time is right and that it is more than a fair plan that what the House has put forward.
Right, and the issue is, the reason I signed on it as a co-sponsor was it affects my district as much as any other district in the state, because the majority of the people in Pearl work, and if they're working people and they're paying taxes, when we've got all this money, why can't we give it back to them? I mean, and what the speaker's saying is exactly right. We need to stand up for those people that are working and need that money back.
Mr. Speaker, I know one of the things that, again, because of you said the research that you all have done, that you believe that the sales tax, the money that's going to be paid back in, that people are going to be buying goods and services, should more than cover, what we need to put out for state services that will be lost under, well, I don't want to say lost, but not brought in through the additional state income tax.
And you'll hear this as a red herring by some of the senators who want to claim, well, we're not going to raise anybody's taxes. I ask people, let's just do the math. You talk to any economist, any policy think tank person, they will tell you that an economy based upon consumption taxes is a much stronger and more favorable economy than one based on income tax. An income tax is a tax on productivity. The more you make, the more you pay. It's a disincentive to work. We don't need an economy based on that. To the extent that you can, you want to move away from a system based on income taxes and toward a system based on consumption. I would argue that every one of us benefits from the services that government provides. Every one of us benefits from roads and bridges and police protection and free schools and all the things that government provides. In fairness, we all ought to help pay for that, should we not? Mm-hmm. Everybody who's benefiting from those services ought to help pay for those services. Well, right now, the income tax generates $1.8 billion in our state. That's almost a third of our budget. Our budget is around $6 billion. 1.8 is almost a third. When you cut the grocery tax in half, which is what we propose to do, that's another $200 million. And when you cut the car tags in half, that's another $200 million. So the whole we're creating is $2.2 billion. That is over a third of the budget. In fairness, everybody ought to help pay for that income tax part. But that income tax part right now is only being paid by the income tax payers. Do you know how many people pay an income tax in this state? About half. That's not fair. You got half of the people of the state who are bearing the burden.
The entire state.
The entire state who are bearing the burden of that $1.8 billion. You got a lot of people who may be in a cash-only business who are choosing to evade tax. You have people, I use the illustration of a drug dealer. Let's say there's a drug dealer on the street. People are going to be shocked to learn, but he's not filing an income tax return. But the joker's buying stuff.
Yeah.
And he's going to the convenience store and he's buying soft drinks and he's buying tires for his car and he's buying tennis shoes, and the man is a consumer. That man now becomes a taxpayer. When you move away from an income tax and towards a consumption tax, everybody in the state who buys stuff, how many people in this state buy stuff?
Everybody.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
Every one of them now becomes a taxpayer. Every one of them has helped bear that burden. So that dilutes the burden on everybody. Secondly, out-of-staters who are not residents don't pay an income tax. But they're coming here and they're buying stuff. Mm-hmm. They're passing through. I went to Mississippi State Baseball Regional last year when they won the national championship. Mm-hmm. There were 3 other teams at that regional. They came here. They stayed 4 days. They stayed in our hotels. They ate in our restaurants. They bought stuff. Those people are helping bear that burden as well. And then finally, I would argue that, and I would point out to people that the overwhelming majority of what you spend your money on is not subject to a sales tax. Your mortgage, no sales tax. Medicines, gasoline, insurance, utilities, not subject to a sales tax. So only the part that you buy, your consumption, would be the part that would be subject to a $0.015 sales tax. Now under our plan, we give you we exempt the first $40,000 of income right out of the gate. So everybody who's making $40,000 or more immediately receives a tax break of $1,300. I mentioned the $1,300 a minute ago. So you pay $1,300 tax on your first $40,000 of income. A married couple, that's double that. That's 60% of the people of the state of Mississippi. So right out of the gate, 60% of the people of the state would pay no more income tax. They get to keep all that. When we raise the sales tax a penny and a half, do you know how much you have to spend at a penny and a half a transaction to eat up that $1,300 that we've just given you back, that we've allowed you to keep? $86,000. Take out your calculator and do the math. 1,300 divided by 0.015 pennies, or percent, 1.5 pennies, is $86,000. So you got to spend $86,000 on stuff other than your mortgage, your insurance, your medicines, your gasoline, your utilities, and your groceries, because we're cutting your grocery tax in half as well. My point is, you're never going to do it. Right. You're never going to spend more by raising the sales tax a penny and a half than you're going to get back in an income tax refund. So this is just a red herring argument. This is trying to scare people into something that it's really not.
But what would be the apprehension then, do you think, if this is all...
There's no valid apprehension. There is no valid apprehension. In 7 years, we raised that exemption from $40,000 to $100,000 per taxpayer, $200,000 for a married couple. That puts $4,500 back into the pocket of the taxpayer, making $100,000. That captures 83% of the taxpayers of the state of Mississippi.
But is it a political apprehension versus a practical?
It boils down to what you believe as a Republican is what it boils down to. As Republicans, we believe in limited government. We believe in controlled spending. We believe in free markets. We believe in lower taxation. That's just basic Republican policy platform. That's what we're doing in the House. We are controlling spending. We are offering to reduce your tax burden. We are bringing forward conservative Republican policies here. To not be for that, it's not conservative and it's not Republican. So I don't understand the hesitation. I don't understand why we're not trying to make it happen rather than looking for ways to not make it happen. And so I would encourage everyone, this isn't going to happen unless the Senate gets on board. You need to call your state senator. You want to see this happen, you need to call your state senator. Like I said, the only lobbyists the taxpayers have down there are me and Gene and the ones like us. It's time for the senators to step up who profess to be Republican and be Republicans and find a way to give tax relief to our taxpayers, our income taxpayers.
And Gene, I know you feel the same way.
I do. I absolutely do. That's to me, it's one of the most important things we're going to do the 4 years that I'm there. It may be in a lifetime.
In a political lifetime, I would agree. In a political lifetime, I don't know there's anything we could do from a financial standpoint to help our citizens more than to let them keep more of their hard-earned money. And here's another inconsistency that I find. Some of the senators are saying, well, there may be this financial crisis on the horizon. There may be some recession that's coming. They actually got the state economist to issue a report, which we believe was incorrect, and have confronted him on that. But if you use the right number, they want to claim that there's some cliff out here. Well, if they believe that, then we don't need to spend any more money. We've got ARPA money. We've got almost $2 billion of capital expense fund. We've got bonds that we sometimes issue. But if that's coming, we don't need to spend any of those dollars. We need to hold them in reserve and see what the future holds.
So from your perspective, it's like you can't have it both ways.
You can't have it both ways. But if you look at their actions, they have put out a $350 million road bill. They put out a $200 million teacher pay raise. They have spent every dime. Their proposal is to spend every dime of the ARPA funds, even though we had talked to them about only spending half. They've given themselves a pay raise, or voted to give themselves a pay raise.
I think that came down off the table once it was held.
Well, after they voted on it and they got backlash, yeah. But my point is their mindset is to spend. That is inconsistent. If you believe there's a crisis coming, you don't need to spend. The fact that they are spending means that they really don't believe that there's a crisis coming. But what better way to help our citizens weather the storm if it is coming, then to put money back in their pocket. People say, well, inflation's coming, prices are going to go up. If there was ever a time to put more money back into the pockets of the people, it's when prices are going up. That helps them pay for what they need better. I mean, here again, Greg, every excuse that's been presented to oppose this, we've knocked it down. We've knocked it down and we've knocked it down. One after another, we have dispelled all the excuses that are being presented for not doing this. And it's eventually going to come down to whether you just want to do it or not. And we're going to see who's Republican and who's not when it comes down to it. And let me step aside. I wish I'd have brought it with me. I left it in the car. But the week we passed our plan, there were 8 or 9 unbiased organizations who issued a letter in support of elimination of the income tax. National Federation of Independent Business. This is a small business organization, the nationwide small business organization. Americans for Tax Reform, Americans Taxpayers Union, National Federation, Empower Mississippi, Mississippi Center for Public Policy, Bigger Pie Forum, Americans for Tax Reform, National Taxpayers Union, Tax Foundation. All these organizations issued a letter, a joint letter, supporting our plan. Now the Senate has passed their plan. Where's the letter? There hadn't been one. So if you don't believe me, and you don't believe Gene, believe these other groups who really don't have a dog in the fight, who are coming out and endorsing what we're trying to do. That gives more credibility, I think, than anything that we could argue. I think I've laid out our case for it. If anybody, I know we don't have the time to talk about all of it, but if anybody has questions, they can call me or Gene. Call my office. I'll be glad to answer their questions.
No, we'd love to have you back on as we get this, the more granular when the Senate comes back. I think that'll be excellent. The one other big question I had for you is, as Pearl, Rankin County, we all try to put forward our plan for that infrastructure spending that came down from the federal government from COVID. And that's been one of the challenges, as Gene has told us up there at the Capitol. You have a lot of people that are saying, okay, gimme. I want to fix our water. I want to fix this, but they don't have a lot of plans. So it's been, pretty tough for you all to have to say no, or, how are you going to filter that money out to the proper people that are going to have shovel-ready products?
Well, we certainly are considering all of those things. People are coming to us with different plans, proposals. I've been working, in fact, with the Rankin County delegation on a big stormwater issue here for Rankin County. Some of those funds, in fact, all of those funds have certain restrictions and guidelines that we have to comply with. I know the federal government, through the Treasury Department, has put an enormous number of handcuffs on how these monies are spent. They don't just give us a lump sum amount of money and say, go spend it like you want to. We have to comply with those guidelines. We're in the process of analyzing all those guidelines. But we don't need to forget, though, that that's taxpayer money, too. That money comes from the taxpayers. And just to touch on the income tax again, I am not in favor of spending more taxpayer money until we give the taxpayers some relief. And so we're going to be looking hard at whether these projects should be passed at the current moment versus giving some relief to the taxpayers. They need some of their money back in their pocket. But we've received a number of proposals on how to spend those dollars. We're going to be looking at different projects and trying to make sure we spend them right. I think we have about $1.8 billion, and I think we got $8 billion in requests. Yeah. So, the money will only go as far as it goes.
Yeah, that doesn't quite level out, But you guys have been doing yeoman's work over there that, as Gene, you've said that everything that you have brought to the Capitol and that the Rankin County folks, specifically Pearl, have brought to the table are really laid out good plans that this is how we intend to spend the money properly.
That's right. Rankin County, the City of Pearl, City of Flowood, City of Brandon, all of them have come with specific plans, and they weren't plans that were just dreamed up whenever this money came available. It's stuff that we've all been working on for a long time, so that we have specific numbers and specific engineering plans put together to provide for the Speaker and Chairman Lamar and the Senate, so that they know exactly what we're asking for. We're not just saying, well, it's a good idea to go down here and put another well in. These are legitimate plans that we need fixed. I mean, the city of Pearl spent a lot of the money that they had doing the smoke test to figure out where all our sewage issues were, and they've done it right. Rankin County's definitely done it right.
So we know which areas, when we need to replace a pipeline, we know, okay, this legitimately needs to be replaced right here, and this is how we're going to do it, and it's going to help X number of people and businesses in that area. So I think that folks, and that's exactly what you're looking for, right? People to do their due diligence on the front end,
Sure.
so that it makes it easier on the back end when you do allocate these funds.
And people need to also understand that we have until 2024 to spend these dollars. We don't have to do it all this year. And this is something that we have talked to the Senate about, and our position is we need to be very measured and very calculating on how we spend these dollars, make sure we comply with the guidelines, but recognize also that we don't have to spend it all this year. We actually have the 2023 legislative session and the 2024 legislative session.
Excellent point. I didn't know
To make those decisions. And then the projects have to be finished by December of 2026. So you've still got some time. It's not like we have to make all these decisions right here and now within the next 3 weeks.
And the federal government still, from what I understand, keeps changing what you can use the money on. So they have different rules that they keep putting in place.
Yeah, it's nice how they keep moving the goalposts and they keep changing the descriptors. That happens a lot.
It happens a lot with the federal government.
In the federal government. But people always need to remember, and Ms. Speaker, I think you brought it out perfectly. I used to hear way too many times in my state days that, oh, well, it's federal dollars. It's federal dollars. It's federal dollars. Well, it's still our dollars, because how did the federal get
Still
it?
taxpayer money.
We had to send it to the federal government, right? So I thought that was a great point that you brought up
Actually,
there.
every one of us who pays an income tax knows we send more income tax to the federal government than we do to the state.
Well, before I let you guys go, I know there's probably not a whole lot we do at the state level to do anything about it, but my goodness, our folks are having sticker shock and heart palpitations going to fill up their cars with gas these days.
Yeah.
There's not much we can do at a state level, is there?
No, we don't have the ability to control those prices, but that again makes the argument for eliminating the income tax, because you are putting more money back into the pot. Well, just like I talked about when I used the numbers a minute ago, under our plan right out of the gate, beginning next year, with this tax year, you would receive $1,300 back in your pocket per year. That's over $100 a month. Now, depending on what kind of car you drive, that's 2 tanks of gas. That helps our citizens as they strive to deal with these higher prices. Another $100 in your pocket maybe lets you buy another bag of groceries, depending on how much you eat. Helps you weather the higher prices even better. Under the Senate plan, you get $5 back under your car tag, and about $4 for your income tax in the first year. That doesn't help you do anything. That's not going to transform your life. And that's what we've been arguing for. We want life-changing, transformative legislation that will change the lives of citizens. That's our goal. We're not married to our plan. If there's problems with our plan, we'll be open to changing it. But the ultimate goal has still got to be full elimination with no further legislative action.
Well, we've got it's been proven that we've got great conservative leadership at the state capitol that is in control. So we are at least confident as taxpayers and people that you guys will get it worked out.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, I appreciate you guys both coming in.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, anytime. This is your pulpit. Anytime you guys need it. And we look forward to having you back as we get closer towards the end of the session and perhaps going over the details of our income tax elimination.
There you go.
So I want to thank the speaker for coming over and telling us expressly how this income tax works. I want to thank him for his honesty, because he's just being straightforward about what it does and what to expect and where we're going with this. So I really appreciate him and what he stands for, and the fact that he'll stand up and speak for what he stands for.
Thank you, Gene. That's mighty kind of you.
A lot of distinguished gentlemen over there. We just pray for compromise. We don't have opposing houses. We have all one party controlling the mansion. We have them controlling the House and the Senate, and let's hope that everybody can can see through the fog of war sometimes, though the fog of politics may be the best way to put it. They can see through the fog of politics to get it done for what our foundational beliefs are.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back with more This Week in Pearl right after this. Welcome back into This Week in Pearl. You know, it's around the holidays, Christmas time, that everybody is just so giving, and, you know, it's not hard to get people to make donations to things. But, you know, we like to do that here in Pearl year-round. We're probably the most giving community in the entire state of Mississippi. Right now, we have two things going on where you can help. The first is the third annual Snack Drive for Children's of Mississippi. This is where our Mayor's Youth Council collects snacks to help the patients over at Children's of Mississippi Hospital at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. What can you do? Well, you can bring donations right here to City Hall, and what they're looking to collect are single-serve snacks. Things like chips, goldfish, Cheez-Its, applesauce, pickles, beef jerky sticks, Little Debbie snacks, Capri Suns, peanut butter crackers, microwave popcorn, fruit snacks, cookies, and freezer pops. All the things that kids love, because you know, if you've ever spent time in a hospital, you know that hospital food is not all that great. And this is our chance to be able to provide them some stuff that kids really like to eat. They're also accepting things, microwave meals like mac and cheese, noodle cups, oatmeal, and grits packets, as well as Chef Boyardee individual single-serve microwavable meals. There's also a pill school training needs that they have over there. What the hospital does is they have a pill school which teaches kids how to take medicine. And if you've ever tried to get a kid to take an ibuprofen, boy, that's tough, that they don't have the confidence to swallow it. So what they use over there are little candies to teach them. Mini M&Ms, Nerds, Tic Tacs, fruit roll-ups, even sprinkles. If you can donate those, man, those will go a very long way. You can bring your donations right here to Pearl City Hall. The address is 2420 Old Brandon Road, and this drive is running March 1st through the 31st. The lobby is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you can't get here during work hours, call ahead. We'll make arrangements to get it from you after hours. But it is a great cause, and we really ask you to support our Mayor's Youth Council and the Children's of Mississippi Snack Drive. The other thing we have going on, something called the March of the Mayors, which Mayor Jake Windham has signed on to be a part of. This is going to help provide food to the food pantries for people that are in need. It's being completely sponsored by Extra Table, the organization. We are collecting canned corn. There are 6 different cities that are participating in this, and each city was given a specific item. The city of Pearl, we got canned corn. We're accepting donations at City Hall as well, and over at our Senior Services Center at 110 Valentour Road. That's right behind the Pearl Public Library. Just to give you a sense of the other cities that are taking part in this, the city of Byram, they're collecting 1-pound bags of rice. Up in Canton, they're collecting spaghetti noodles. Over in Jackson, they're taking canned tuna. The city of Madison is collecting peanut butter, and the city of Ridgeland is collecting canned fruit. All of this will be brought together on March the 24th, and they're going to pack these boxes and deliver them to the food pantries around the metro area. So a great, great event. So remember, please bring your canned corn here to City Hall or the Senior Services Center by March the 22nd. When we come back, we will let you guys know how you can stay connected to the City of Pearl 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So stay with us. This Week in Pearl continues right after this.
I'm Officer Kyle Carmerdale.
And I'm Officer Alfred Jenkins, School Resource Officer with the Pearl Police Department. And our job is to protect students.
Here in Pearl, we have zero tolerance for drivers that break school bus laws. There are 4 things to know. Stop at least 10 feet from the bus when it is loading or unloading. Don't move until kids have crossed the street to or from the bus. The flashing red lights are no longer activated. The stop sign on the side of the bus is retracted.
When we catch you, you get a ticket up to $750, up to a year in jail, or both.
Please pay attention so every student can get to school and home safely.
Welcome back into This Week in Pearl. I'm Greg Flynn, the Public Information Director here for the City of Pearl. And, you know, we work hard to keep you all informed. We do that by many, many different ways. The number one thing you can do is follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram and Twitter under the @PearlGovernment hashtag. We're also at cityofpearl.com, where you can go all the time to get answers to just about any question you have as a resident, a visitor, or a business owner here in the City of Pearl. And that's cityofpearl.com, a great, great resource. You can get phone numbers to any city department to get your questions answered, or even send us an email, fill out a citizen's work request. So many things for you to do there at cityofpearl.com. We also have a service where you can receive city text alerts directly to your cell phone. All you have to do is text the word Pearl to 91896. That's the word Pearl to 91896 to stay in the know about everything that's going on in and around the City of Pearl. Well, I want to thank our guests, Representative Philip Gunn, Speaker of the House, and Representative Gene Newman for joining us today. Very insightful stuff that's going on over at the state capitol as they deal with the income tax issue and the state budget, which will be locked up here in the next month. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of This Week in Pearl. We want you to remember that Pearl is an awesome place to live, work, and play, which is why we are affectionately known as the Jewel of the Crossroads.